Hey guys, it's Jess here from Notes of Nomads, and today we're talking accommodation, how we find it, and how we keep costs down. So for those who don't know, we've been traveling nomadically for the past 15 months. And what that means is that we've been traveling continuously without any base. So what that in turn means is that we have to find accommodation on a very regular basis for each new city and each new place that we visit. So one of the questions that we often get is, how do we find that accommodation? Where are we staying on our trip? And since we've been traveling for so long, how do we keep the costs of that down? So that's exactly what I'd like to talk about today. So first of all, wherever possible, we try to do house sitting assignments. And if you haven't heard of house sitting before, it's basically looking after somebody's home and usually their pets too while they go on vacation. And in exchange, you get to stay for free. Through house sitting, we've been able to stay in some amazing places around the world. Some of our assignments have been in, for example, Rome, Berlin, and London, and it has literally saved us thousands of dollars on accommodation costs. The site we use is called Trusted House Sitters, and we'll put all the links to the sites that we mentioned in this video down in the description box. Once you have your house sitting membership, the obvious advantage to house sitting is that your stays are free. But that's not the only advantage. We love the ability to be able to stay in someone's home. This means that you have all of the amenities that you would usually have in a house. Things like a kitchen, meaning that you can save costs even further by self-catering. You have access to things like a washing machine and other conveniences. So that's also a big advantage. Last but not least, we love the fact that we get to look after somebody else's pets when we house sit, because that's usually the reason why a homeowner would like a house sitter to come in while they're on vacation. And as animal lovers who are on the road full time, we unfortunately cannot have pets. So we love the fact that we can look after somebody else's and be there for them while their homeowners are on vacation. So that's a definite plus for us. The downside to house sitting is that it can take longer to arrange. It's not something that you can instantly book. It also can be difficult to find an assignment that fits both your schedule and also your preferred location. So you do have to be somewhat flexible. And thirdly, because house sitting, as you can imagine, is becoming increasingly popular, it is becoming highly competitive as well. So it is becoming more and more difficult to get those really great assignments. The second type of accommodation we use is Airbnb. So when we're not house sitting, we're usually in an Airbnb room or apartment. If you haven't heard of Airbnb, it's basically a site that connects you with local people and allows you to book spare rooms in their houses or even book out entire apartments. We've loved using this site because it usually works out much cheaper than staying in a hotel. And while every property is different, you usually get access to the amenities within the house, things like a kitchen, washing machine, and so on, which is really convenient when you're on the road and can also save you more money. Perhaps the biggest advantage for us in using Airbnb is the fact that you get to meet local people. We can't tell you how much we have learned from the hosts that we've had during our travels. Having someone to ask questions of, show you around, tell you their secret places and haunts. We have really gotten so much more out of a destination by using Airbnb and having a local person to speak to. The downside to Airbnb is that for most listings you can't instantly book. So you'll need to send a request to the homeowner, who will then either approve or decline your request. The second issue is with the calendar and the fact that some people don't keep it up to date. So you may be looking at a listing that appears available, but in actual fact it's not, and you may put in a request and then have it declined for that reason. However, for the most part, we've been able to avoid disappointment by only applying to homeowners who have good reviews and good response rates, and you can see this information on their profile. Second of all, we don't put all our eggs in one basket by applying to only one homeowner. We may put in a request to book to one homeowner, but we also email, message a few other people through the system as well to ask them if they have available rooms in case the one that we booked does fall through. The third site that we use is a site called Hostel World, and as it sounds, it is a booking site for hostels around the world. We use this site particularly in Asia. We've found that things like Housesitting and Airbnb haven't really taken off there yet. And perhaps that's because accommodation is already really cheap there and there's not really a market for alternative accommodations. We've found this site particularly good for finding cheap dorm accommodation, but many hostels these days are also branching out into private rooms. So if you are searching for private room accommodation, you can also increasingly find this at hostels and hence on Hostel World as well. What we like about this site is that you can instantly book, so it's really good for last minute accommodation. What we don't like about it is that the prices are listed per person. So sometimes when we are searching for accommodation, for example, we're a couple, so we're looking for accommodation for 2 people, we put that into the search form, and when the results come up, it gives us the list of available properties and the price, but the price is listed per person. So sometimes we think that we've gotten a really good deal until we realize that actually we need to double that price. So for example, if we are looking at a search result that says the cost is 20 euros, that's 20 euros per person. So once we get to the checkout, we'll actually be paying 40 euros. You should also be aware that when you're booking rooms of greater capacity, that you'll have to pay for the entire room. That means that if you're a couple and you're booking a triple room, for example, because that is all that is available, you'll have to pay for the 3 people, despite only having 2 people stay there. So for example, if the price is listed as being 10 euros, that means that once you get to the checkout, you'll actually be paying 30 euros for that room. But as I said, we've mostly been using this site for cheap dorm accommodation, and for that it works really well. The 4th site that we've been using is called Booking.com, and this is another accommodation booking site, but this one focuses more on hotels rather than hostels. We usually use this site when we're looking for a private room in a budget hotel. We really like it because we can instantly book. The prices are listed per room rather than per person, so the total cost is really clear from the outset. Oftentimes you don't have to pay anything until arrival, and you usually can cancel up to 24 hours before. We've found that the prices listed on this site are sometimes not so cheap, but they have some really great last minute deals that are pretty good value, so we definitely recommend checking out this site, especially if you're looking for last minute accommodation. So those are our 4 go-to sites and types of accommodation we use on our travels. As I said earlier, we'll put all the links to those websites down in the description box. We hope that we've been able to answer some of your questions about accommodation, but if you do have any more, feel free to comment down below and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.